the apartment. I spent $12,000 to decorate my sister's new apartment. At her housewarming, she smiled coldly and said, "We didn't really want you here, but thanks for the couch." My parents laughed. I quietly put my glass down and left. That night, I changed all the receipts back to my name. By morning, the movers came and took everything away. I posted one line: "Enjoy the empty place you deserve." "Take your things and leave, Ethan. You've done enough damage." Dad's voice cracked through the room like thunder. The laughter from Ivy's friends died instantly. The music stopped. I stood in the doorway, holding a small wrapped gift. A candle set I thought she'd like. Everyone stared at me as if I had ruined the night. "I'm sorry?" I asked quietly, not understanding. Ivy didn't even look up from her wine glass. She was smiling, but not kindly. "We didn't actually want you here," she said. "But thanks for the couch. It really ties the room together." Her friends giggled awkwardly, waiting to see if it was a joke. It wasn't. Dad chuckled beside her, pretending it was harmless teasing. "Don't be so sensitive, son. You know how she is." I looked around the living room. Every single piece of furniture, every lamp, every shelf. I'd bought it all. $12,000 spent because I thought it would make her happy. Because I wanted to belong. Mom sat on the edge of the sofa I'd paid for, eyes glued to her phone like she couldn't bear to see me. The air was thick with fake smiles. My throat burned, but I said nothing. Instead, I placed the gift on the counter and whispered, "Enjoy it." Then I put down my glass and walked out, past the laughter, the whispers, the people pretending I didn't exist. That night, silence was my revenge. My name is Ethan Vale, 26 years old, and I've spent most of my life trying to earn a seat at a table I helped build. I'm the one who never talks back, never yells, never fights, because in this family, silence was safer than truth. Dad once told me, "You'll never be as sharp as your sister. You're too soft." He said it like softness was a disease. Mom would just sigh and say, "You know he doesn't mean it," but he did. Every word. I learned early, being kind meant being invisible. They called me quiet, but what they really meant was, I didn't argue when they took what was mine. That night, after Ivy's housewarming, I sat in my car and scrolled through every receipt, every item I bought to make her life easier. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty. I felt clear. They used my silence like a wallet. They mistook it for weakness, and soon they were going to see what silence can do when it finally speaks back.
Family introduced. Dad, Gerald Vale, 58. A man who believed his voice was the loudest truth in any room. He used control the way others use love, to keep people close and small. He still tells everyone, "My kids turned out great," though one barely speaks to him and the other lives off his guilt.
Mom, Lena Vale, 54. She used to be warm before years of keeping peace turned her cold. Now she flinches at raised voices and covers every wound with, "Let's not make it worse." But silence doesn't fix anything. It only lets the rot spread quietly. And Ivy, 28, the golden child. Dad's pride, Mom's favorite excuse. A woman who could burn the house down and still be handed the lighter with applause. At dinner, she'd mock my degree, roll her eyes at my job, call me Mr. Average. And every time I tried to laugh it off, Dad would add, "Don't be so emotional, Ethan. Learn to take a joke." Funny how the jokes always cut only one way. The morning after the party, Ivy called. No greeting, no shame. "You can't just take the furniture," she snapped. "That's my stuff now." "I paid for all of it," I said, calm but cold. Her tone sharpened. "You said it was a gift." "Gifts are given with respect," I replied. "You made sure I got none." She went quiet for a second before spitting out, "Dad will handle this." An hour later, Dad called. No hello, just disappointment wrapped in authority. "Ivy told me what you're trying to pull. You're embarrassing yourself. People will talk." I almost laughed. "People like you?" I asked. He exhaled heavily. "We did everything for you. Paid for your life, your school, your... You used my scholarship money to fix your credit." I cut in. Silence. Then the line went dead. And that's when I realized something brutal. They didn't see me as family. They saw me as a resource. By the time the movers arrived, chaos was already thick in the air. Ivy was pacing in designer heels, shouting at everyone. Dad stood like a judge about to deliver a verdict. Mom sat trembling on the couch, whispering, "Please, Ethan, don't do this." One mover carefully lifted the dining table. Ivy grabbed his arm. "Put that down! That's mine!" "It's under my name," I said. "Every item, every dollar." Her eyes narrowed. "You're pathetic. No wonder you're alone." I let her words sink in, then smiled slightly. Better alone than surrounded by people who clap when I bleed. Dad slammed his fist on the counter. "You ungrateful brat. We raised you." I turned slowly. "And I paid the price for it, didn't I?" Mom whispered, "Don't do this. You'll regret it." I looked at her, the same woman who watched my sister steal my savings and said nothing. I already regret staying this long. The room went silent. For the first time in my life, I wasn't their quiet son. I was their mirror. And they hated what they saw. 3 years ago, I was living in a tiny apartment near campus, working nights to survive. Dad called. "Your sister's car broke down. She needs money fast." "I can't," I said. "That's my rent." "Don't be selfish," he snapped. "She's family. She has potential." I sent the money. Slept in my car for 2 weeks. Failed a class. A month later, Ivy posted a picture with her new car. The caption read, "Best dad ever." No mention of me. Not even a thank you text. That night, I cried quietly in a parking lot. Not because I lost the money, but because I realized my kindness didn't matter unless it benefited them. That memory has lived under my skin ever since. A scar they can't see, but I'll never forget. That night, as I checked old receipts, one email caught my eye. A transaction from my account to Dad's business. $4,800. I didn't make it. The signature? My mother's. My stomach turned cold. I called Dad immediately. "Did you take money from me?" He sighed like I was being dramatic. "We borrowed it. You always have extra." "You forged my name," I said. "Don't exaggerate. It's family money. Family money." That phrase hit like a punch. Family when they take. Stranger when I need. I hung up staring at the screen, realizing this wasn't just emotional abuse, it was theft, and they expected me to stay quiet again. But this time, silence was done serving them. The confrontation was volcanic. I arrived at the house, not as the obedient son, but as someone ready to end a cycle. Dad stood tall. "You're destroying this family." "No," I said. "You already did when you taught everyone that love means taking without asking." Ivy shouted, "You're pathetic. You think a few receipts make you the victim?" I unlocked my phone, showing proof, bank statements, text threads, transfers. Each truth landed like a slap. Mom covered her mouth. Dad turned pale. Ivy just laughed nervously. "You wouldn't dare expose us." "I don't have to," I said. "You've already done that yourselves." I turned toward the door. Behind me, Dad yelled, "You'll regret this." "I already did," I whispered, walking away. And for once, no one followed. It's strange. Peace feels heavy at first. You expect guilt to fade, but it lingers like smoke. Mom called once, voice shaking. "Ethan, please, families fight. It doesn't mean you leave." "It's not fighting," I said softly. "It's survival." I got my own apartment. Small, quiet, nothing fancy. But it was mine. Every object inside had meaning, bought by my own effort, not out of guilt or control. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night and expect to hear their voices, but all I heard was silence, and for the first time, it didn't hurt. It healed. Weeks later, I saw Ivy post a photo online, her apartment completely empty. Caption, "Fresh start. Some people just can't handle success." I didn't respond. I just smiled faintly, because her success was built on my silence, and now that silence belonged to me again, Dad sent one last message. "We're disappointed in you." I typed back but never sent it. Some words don't deserve answers. I stepped out onto my balcony, looked at the sky, and whispered, "For the first time, I don't carry their weight anymore. Not revenge, not forgiveness, just freedom. Family isn't always who shares your blood, sometimes it's who stops making you bleed. If you were in my place, would you forgive them or would you walk away? Tell me in the comments. Your voice matters here, like if you've ever been the quiet one who finally spoke up. Subscribe for more stories of pain, truth, and freedom, because healing begins when silence ends. Enjoy the empty place you deserve.